Welcome back, everyone. Lancescurv here. I'm glad you're here and back. I want to share a few thoughts, as usual. And I find myself earlier today in a zone deeper than normal, a very calm zone, oblivious to the foolishness that one has to deal with when you go into the outside world. And even at home here in my studio, I'm still zoned out right now. There are people who say that you have to take external substances to get into that creative mode, but I don't feel that's the case. When you can naturally go within and get to that place where you're so connected to yourself, there's no substance that robs you of oxygen, damages your brain, that can take you there. It might feel like a shortcut, but it's not healthy. And for years I've been this way. I was telling someone years ago how when I would be in my room back in the 70s, in elementary school, junior high school, and eventually high school, I would do my homework. I'd have my records playing, my wax, 45s and 33 1/3 RPMs, a little TV if I wanted in the background. And I would get lost in my artwork and in my work. And you know what? It's the same as now. If I click on the computer righteously to research something or research a topic, and I'm writing and jotting notes down that I can repeat when I do these broadcasts, it's the same. While YouTube, for example, came around in 2005 and has been around for 20 years, I was being prepared for social media even from decades earlier growing up. And it feels so natural to me. It's not forced. This is like a boxer who's been boxing all his life. He's used to the ring. It's his living room. It's where he does his best work. So it's in this solitude and focus, especially when I do artwork, and pay attention to detail that you can't see unless you look real close. It's intense, just like me. If 5 seconds go by for me, it can sometimes feel like a lifetime because I pay so much attention to it. And these days, I might be an odd fellow because I don't run into too many people who have that type of focus. When you have focus and you're at the gun range and you're aiming at the target in the center, that target in the center can look huge and you'll always hit it. Anything you do, it's amplified from within. It becomes easy. But when I think of the present day, where we have the influence of social media on our brains and the constant distractions and interruptions that come, we're being reduced. This is why when I use this medium, I get on and I get off. I take what I need and digest it. And if I need more, I'll go back. But my mind still operates in the way it always has, in an old school way comparable to when I was a child growing up in my room with paper, pens, pencils, and a little music playing behind me. That's how I work, and that's how I do my best work, with the focus. But now, we live in a time where intelligence is praised more than ever, yet true thinking is quietly disappearing. Every screen we look at is filled with information, but not with wisdom. Our conversations are overflowing with opinion, but most often lacking deep reflection. We are told that this is the information age, but if we look closer, we may see something far more troubling. Instead of an age of enlightenment, we may be living in an age of collective foolishness. Yes, I said it. It's not simply ignorance anymore. It's obedience disguised as intelligence. For the Black community, this danger runs deep. Our survival has always depended on the strength of our independent thought. Yet now, we are drowning in distractions. We are told we are free because we can choose from countless screens and voices. But that freedom may actually be the most efficient form of control. Think about it. What makes this epidemic so dangerous is that it does not need to silence us by force. Instead, it suffocates us with noise. It does not punish ignorance. It punishes resistance. When the system rewards conformity, those who dare to think differently are isolated, mocked, or ignored. The question that stands before us is urgent. How do we protect our minds in a world built to colonize them? How do we defend ourselves from an epidemic that seeps into our very thought, shaping our desires, our choices, and even our sense of self? The problem is not that we lack information, it's that we are buried in it. We scroll endlessly, convinced we are learning and connecting. But in truth, we're often becoming exactly what the system wants us to be: distracted and obedient. This is not freedom, it's control. And for Black people who already face centuries of false narratives, this illusion of knowledge is especially deadly. We can't afford to confuse constant scrolling with true awareness. This epidemic thrives on old instincts. Human beings were shaped to seek belonging more than originality. To survive, we once needed to follow the herd. But today is used against us. We echo what is popular rather than daring to think for ourselves. The Black community must recognize this. Our struggle has always demanded courage, not conformity. When we adapt too perfectly to a sick culture, we risk becoming sick ourselves. Modern psychology shows how easily we are deceived. Confirmation bias makes us search only for what agrees with us. Groupthink convinces us that the crowd must be right. The hunger for likes, shares, and approval reshapes our very brain, rewarding shallow thinking over deep reflection. This is how the system steals our focus. A fragmented mind cannot resist oppression. A distracted people cannot build power. Another consequence is emotional. When everything becomes entertainment, nothing feels sacred. We laugh at suffering, consume tragedy like a show, and mistake endless stimulation for connection. But inside, we grow numb. Numbness is dangerous for the Black community. Our strength has always been rooted in feeling our pain, our joy, and our love for one another. When distraction hollows us out, resistance weakens. This epidemic also shapes our culture. We silence ourselves to fit in. We trade dialogue for slogans. We reduce every issue to us versus them because complexity feels too heavy. But stupidity thrives on simplicity. When we avoid difficult truths, we hand over our power. The result is a culture where shallow voices dominate and true wisdom is silenced. How about that? The greatest danger is not outside. It is within. If our opinions are borrowed, if our desires are engineered, if our beliefs are echoes of others, then who are we really? This epidemic erases individuality. It makes us masks of the collective, vessels of noise. Once we surrender our mind, the system no longer needs to control us. We control ourselves in its image. That is the most terrifying form of slavery. For centuries, control over the Black mind has been the goal of oppressive systems. From forced ignorance during slavery to today's flood of meaningless distraction, the strategy is the same. Keep us from deep thought, keep us from unity, and keep us from self-determination. If we cannot think freely, we cannot build freely. If we drown in noise, we cannot hear the voice of our ancestors calling us to rise. The only way forward is rebellion. Not necessarily with weapons, but with thought. Protecting the Black mind requires courage. It means daring to think against everything you are told. It means valuing wisdom over popularity. It means choosing reflection over distraction, dialogue over slogans, truth over illusions. Only then can we resist the epidemic that seeks to suffocate us. We are, right now, at a fork in the road. Either we walk blindly into the epidemic, or we begin the dangerous but necessary work of protecting our minds. We must remember that stupidity is not ignorance, it's obedience. It spreads not through silence, but through noise. And it thrives whenever we choose comfort over truth. For the Black community, the cost of surrender is too high. If we allow ourselves to be drowned in distractions, our future is stolen before it's even born. But if we resist, if we dare to think deeply, to see clearly, to feel fully, we become something greater than carriers of noise. We become protectors of truth, builders of freedom, and guardians of our collective future. The epidemic is real, but so is our power. The decision is here, now. Will we surrender our minds, or will we rise to protect them? Honestly, I don't think we're winning. I'm being brutally honest with you. And because of the noise, because of this mental takeover called social media, that's like a fire. You see, fire can be a good thing. And the same fire could be something very bad. Fire can keep you warm in your house. It can cook your food for you if it's under control. But if you let that fire rage out of control, it will burn your house down and cook you with it on the inside. If you control it, it can keep your home from the fireplace at a very comfortable temperature, but only if you control it. And the reason why I say we're losing is because so much of our development now comes from the group think and the influence of other people on our psyches, and we don't even know who we are anymore when we go and imitate and regurgitate the principles that are pushed on us from other people. And because we regurgitate this stuff up and it comes out of our mouths after we watch a program or see a video, our psyches become mosaics of so many conflicting thoughts. And we don't even realize that we never sit quiet and think to ourselves away from the noise. That's scary. That we can fool ourselves into thinking that we're advancing, but we're merely placing someone else's shackles around our wrists. And in that lack of movement, we think we're free. In that limited cage, we think we're free. And for those who realize it, oftentimes it could be too late. And then once you realize that you're not free and you try to convince everybody else, not because you think that you're better than anybody, it's because you stepped away from the noise. And you're no longer seduced and intoxicated by it. You see it for what it is. And then now you become the target because you're taking people out of their comfort zone and at the same time, their incarceration. Many of us are not absorbing life as we should. And I am so glad that I see social media for what it is, how it can be manipulated, how algorithms can be changed and altered. If you say things that the powers that be don't like, you're not going to get as much traffic to what you produce. My thing is, personally, I don't play that game anymore. And in actuality, I have to make a correction, I never played that game. When I had more traffic coming through, it was circumstantial. I wasn't pushing for it. I was just doing what I love to do. And now that so much has been reduced, I still love what I do. But I know not to use the gauges that they put out there as something that is authentic. I've learned a lot, and I'm more in peace. And this is the type of stuff I like to talk about. Not the usual titillation, stimulation, seduction, and all of the things that pull you into a different place to make you detach from yourself and to not know yourself. And I'm learning myself more and more every day, secluded away from the noise up in these mountains, in the quiet. I've gotten to learn myself more in these last 5 years than I have in my entire life when I was surrounded by noise. Even though I always had focus, now I don't have to focus on keeping the noise down because there's no noise around me. Even now, my phone is silenced for many hours of the day. I'll make sure to check it, but I'm not going to jump every time it rings. I can't. I have to stay focused and go deeper. And I love the feel of what I'm doing. It's a beautiful thing. So in today's world, the reason why it does feel different is because the human vibration has been reduced, almost eliminated. I was playing some music before I started this presentation. I played an old song by the Temptations. The title of it is "Who Are You?" And it was just a song with some nice words, and I believe it came out in 1976. So my mind went back to 134th Street in Queens, Southside Queens, back in 1976 when we had block parties, and I believe that song was played. And I remember around that time, we had the 1976 Olympics. And we had Sugar Ray Leonard, Howard Davis, Leo Randolph, and the Spinks brothers winning gold medals at that Olympics. And in those days, to me, the sun shined brighter than ever in my time in America. And that was New York City. Now the sun shines brighter than ever once again, as I'm in a different part of the world. Maybe it's physical with the chemtrails and the pollution, but the sun really kisses me much more intensely than it did in the last few years that I lived in America. But it wasn't just a physical brightness. Human nature wasn't as corrupt as it is now. We had real human connection. We didn't have this watered down, distracted, low vibrational thing going on. This is a society that can use the word haters. Wow, haters. That's a strong word. I had someone here in my neighborhood proclaim to someone how much he hated me. I hate him. I hate him. I can't stand him. I can't stand him. And it got back to me. But I already knew that. See, when you're not like a hungry dog at night in the ghetto, trying to rip every garbage bag to see if there's a morsel of food or a chicken bone or something to eat, when you're not like that, you can feel the spirit of people around you so clearly. Have you ever left the house and left your smartphone at home? For some, it can be a very frustrating feeling, especially now if you have business to take care of. Granted, you may have a medical issue and need a call from the doctor, or need to find out if you got that loan for that new house that you want to buy or that car. Yeah, it's important. But if there's nothing important coming through, We still have that sense of urgency and panic as though we're going to really miss something. And you go through your withdrawals. You go through feeling as though one of your limbs is missing, because to many of us, that is a limb. But when you come home, and yes, many of you will run right for that phone, but at the same time, you realize that you're beginning to have a sense of peace because you didn't have the distractions on your brain constantly. Look, the brain was not made to absorb all of this trash dumped in our minds. There are people who send me videos all day long. A video might be 90 minutes, and then 2 minutes later, they might send me another video for 45 minutes, and then another 2 minutes later, they'll send me one that's 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm like, wait a second. You mean in the 8-minute period, you sent me enough video for several hours? You couldn't have watched all of these that quick. It's like you're cleaning up your yard, back and front entrance and side walking out to the curb, and somebody comes up in a truck and dumps trash all over your yard after you cleaned it up. And then now you got to go clean up the trash again. But most of the time, I don't have any time to look at all of this stuff dumped at me. Not for the purpose of saying this is a good topic, whatever. I'll look at those if I have the time. But just throwing this stuff and dumping this, I get so much porn thrown at me. I've had to tell people, I don't look at that. Why are you wasting your time? Because I believe even they don't know why they do this. But you have spirits out here, energies out here. And don't go say, oh, Lance, here you go with that talk again, man. You believe in all that mumbo jumbo. It's not mumbo jumbo. Aren't you energy inside of a body? And once you're out of the body after transition, your energy goes somewhere. In science, we have a negative and a positive charge. So in life, we have negative and positive based people. And they follow the dictates of the higher powers that have the same charge. It's to the point where even you believe it and you don't even realize it. Have you ever had a wonderful day? I mean, from the time you woke up, you were joyous in your heart. The radio was on and your face nicely. It was nice and early and you feel rested. You got a great breakfast. You get a phone call. Your friend's going to meet you. It's a day off and you're going to go somewhere like the beach. And maybe you'll do a little shopping before then, but the day seems to go perfect. And it does. You actually fall asleep later on thinking about what you did for the day and you have a smile on your face. And then you wake up the next day. It still feels like you're in that zone. But you are aware of the negative energies because sometimes this is what you say. Oh, I'm a little paranoid because everything has been going along too good. Wonder what's coming down the road. Now, that's not negative thinking, but you know there's negativity in the world, and now you have been given extra heaping servings of goodness and beautiful days. Now you're looking out. Things been going too good because you know there are energies out there that don't want you to experience the goodness. And when things happen on a negative level, large or small, you're almost relieved. Like, see, I told you, this is too good to be true. But you could have extended that good period. And life is not always a bunch of roses. We know that. We have more control over how our days go than we think. We have more control over the things we manifest than we think. Because we're so distracted by the trash that social media drops in our mental, spiritual, and physical yard that we're so focused on those distractions that we don't focus on where the real power comes from, and that's within. You hold the key. I don't mean to knock anybody else's religion or what they feel is their sense of spirituality. But too many people are looking everywhere else but within. I lost my glasses at the airport, my spectacles. And my sight wasn't that bad. I need to get some again, but it's coming soon. And I remember being so caught up with so many things that I may have been chasing down to create. I was frantically looking for my glasses all over the house until I walked past the mirror in the master bedroom and saw the glasses on top of my forehead flip back. It was right there. I looked everywhere else for those glasses and didn't realize it was right on my head. Too many of us are looking for a sense of wholeness and a sense of being complete by looking for something, someone, some scam, some whatever, externally. And when we hear the right words, see something that's appealing to the eye, we just give in because this must be the answer. This is what I've been looking for the entire life that I had. Because nothing is going to change you and evolve you until you look within. The answer's inside of you. And if you want to say God, God is inside of you. This is how, as they say, we have a personal relationship with God. God ain't no white man sitting up on a throne somewhere with a long beard. And that imagery is what makes it so easy for some of us to bow down to something that looks like that. You see all these paintings in Europe and in Italy, France, of God with this long beard on a throne. We don't question it. It's supposed to be something that comes down from the sky. You look up long enough, there'll be a bird that'll drop something down in your eye too if you're not careful. Because we're not looking for it on the inside. We have a spiritual GPS system that's far advanced on anything that man has copied from us and what many would call the supernatural. It's not supernatural, it's natural for us. It's super for them because they don't have the capabilities with their envious, gossipy, beast-like selves. It's super for them. It's natural for us. But we don't realize it because we don't go within. Your enemy has you so distracted, you have forfeited the steering wheel that guides your spiritual vehicle on the road of your life. So either you crash or he sees that as an opportunity to take over that wheel and guide you. All this crap you see on social media. Yes, some of it is good, but there's so much of it. I mean, as a man, you're starting to get into something that is sharing real wisdom, and something pops up and it's a juicy female backside in your face. And how many of us forget about the wisdom we were reading about to click on that imagery of something we've seen time and time again, but it appeals to you on a lower level and takes you away from your righteous ascension. You were almost there. You're reading something that was taking you higher, something that you can store within and eat off of it, like leftovers from a good meal. You get up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom to relieve yourself, and you remember, man, I got some good food in that refrigerator. I'm not going to eat a meal, and I'm going to get a little bit. Now, after you use the restroom and hopefully wash your hands, everybody else is sleeping in the house. You got a nice big piece of turkey under some covering, wax paper, foil, whatever it may be. You don't even bother to put it in a plate. You put your hand on your hip, refrigerator door swinging wide open, letting out all the cold, and you just eating. You say, I'm just going to take one piece. What? 10 minutes later, you still standing there. And that's how it is. Distractions. That's why focus is very important. And that's why we have to work on increasing our focus every day. Doesn't mean you're going to sit there for 10 hours in some zone, speaking some words. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. You don't know what you're opening yourself up to when you just chant. What are you calling? What are you saying? I don't know. Demons come into me? That's what you're saying? We can't blindly follow things we don't know. When it's right, it resonates. And you don't need approval from any person sitting up, putting themselves up as some cult member. You listen to that inner voice. If you don't listen to it, there's grand consequences. Stolen thought, things we're supposed to be focusing on, but distractions come. And we worried about that former pandemic, that so-called, that we had to wear a mask for. Step back 6 feet, social distancing. Well, now it's step back for several hours. Spiritual and mental distancing from yourself and the power that's inside of you. That's why time seems to move weird now. And we know that time on this level is an artificial construct. And on the next level of existence, after we transition, there ain't no clocks. There is no time. It's just a state of being. And you know you're getting higher when time is effortless for you. Of course, if you have to meet somebody tomorrow afternoon downtown at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you got to look at the time to synchronize so you both end up there. I understand that. But you know better than that. Time today for me flew by so fast, but I was so deep in my zone, to the point now, since I'm not working and retired, I don't care about time. All I care about is the God within me and that sense of urgency to do what I'm supposed to do that comes from within. See, I'm not going to quit on my mission. Now, you remember about 2 or 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, we had that term come out as a hashtag, quiet quitting, quiet quit. If you don't remember, I'll remind you. That was the movement that many people were doing on their stressful jobs. When they would go to work, they'd punch in on the time clock if they had one. They would sit down to their cubicle or go do customer service or whatever it was that their job description spoke on. but they did bare minimum. They weren't going to stress themselves. They detached themselves from the stress and did just enough to keep the job. Quiet quitting. So many people are retired. I know many who are, who have quietly quit from life. I move at my own pace. I don't jump up and chase anything. Today, my topic came late to me, and I jotted down my notes and prepared an article to make sure the points are in this particular show, in the freestyle that I'm doing now. So we get both ends of it, but it flows. Sometimes I wake up, I can eat a whole garden and a farm. Sometimes I wake up and I'm not even thinking about food. I might nibble something that evening, and I would have moved through the day effortlessly because I was beyond the cravings and the feeling of having a big appetite. So I play my life by ear now, and it's a beautiful thing. I don't have anybody dictating to me, you better do this at this time, or you better do it at that time. And by all means, I'm not lazy. I get more done easily. But I get on social media and I get off. I dial in what I want to see, what I want to read. If it's not something that resonates within me, I'm done. I'll search for it until I find it, but I'll take only but so much time, because along the way, I see it as getting dirty, just to entertain the possibility of what's served up to you. And this is how I can last so long in this and not be frustrated. No, because it comes from within. I don't look sideways. I'm not copying somebody and seeing what they do. It'll come if it's supposed to. If you open up a pizza restaurant in your city or town, downtown, where everything is a little busier, are you mad at the pizza parlor that's in Italy somewhere, of which there are many? Are you mad at them? They have their audience. They have their customers. They have their people that like what they do. Where I am, there's some who come to me. I'm flattered and I'm honored, but I'm not hating on someone else. I'm very secure in who I am. Some people get on social media and they get upset when they don't realize that many people who are portraying a certain lifestyle, they're creating an illusion. Some it may be real, but who cares? If you're dealing with a clear mind and a cleansed spirit, and you're dealing from within, try it sometime. I don't care who buys a new car. If it's not my time, I'm not going to get it. I don't have a car right now. And right now, I'm not looking. I really don't want one. I don't want to be bothered with a tune-up. I don't want to be bothered with repairing the radiator. I don't want to be bothered with these high gas prices. There are conveniences, but right now, you're so free. Because the distractions on social media will have you trying to keep up with the Joneses and everybody else. Not because you want to do the things you do, but because you're trying to keep up with the projection of what they say you should have. And you know what? The money is diminishing. What's the term I saw earlier? Wage stagnation. I got to do a little show on that. Those two words just saw so much when I saw wage stagnation. Everything's going up in price, and the money is not keeping up. It may raise a little bit, but even if it does, the power behind the money is diminishing. So we're running even harder, looking at our smartphones at other people's lives, trying to keep up, and we're not even enjoying the human connection with family and friends and loved ones. Couldn't believe it. There was a photo being passed around on WhatsApp, and it was a man and a woman. They were making love. I won't say what act she was performing on him, which you should already know by the way I said it, but she had the phone in her hand doing that to him, and she was reading the phone. What was on the phone? You can't put your phone down? You can't do that? Is it that bad? I overheard a conversation in the supermarket the other day. Oh, I fell asleep, and the next thing I remember, the phone was on the ground. You looking at your phone, and they're never going to stop posting stuff. You're not going to see everything. Something else pops up new, you want to watch that. You wake up first thing in the morning, still got to pee, holding it in, but you get the phone to see what you missed. Oh my God. We've all become crackheads. We used to make fun of the crackheads, not in a venomous way, but how they would look for crack. Do anything to get the money to get crack. Walking down the street, looking down at the ground to see if somebody might have dropped a crack rock. I was cruel. I never used it and I never sold it. But I had a heck of a time with jokes. You know, I'm a comedian. I took little pieces of soap powder and sprinkled it all up and down the street. The crackheads were walking up and down, looking, picking up piece, looking around. Oh my God. The next piece might be one. You out there for 2 hours and still this thing has you going on like this. It's the same effect on your brain. We have become crackheads for the dopamine hit, but the dopamine hit of content is laced with misleading information to have you thinking a certain way. Therefore, your reality that you see, that you think you see, is an illusion. There are people I know that send me political things. Oh, the Republicans, the Democrats. Oh, I won this argument. He's a Republican, and I won. You're doing the same thing 10 years ago. And then people don't give a damn about you because there's two wings on the same plane. They're playing all of us. No matter who gets elected, it's going to be the same stuff. The world has not changed. But you have the power to change your world. I don't care who the president is. I'm the one who has to cut my grass and keep my yard looking good. I don't care who the president is. If I'm hungry, his brain is not going to feel it. Don't care about me. Some of us neglect our own lives, but we care so much passionately about the manufactured battles that we see every day on this phone, or the escapism that it affords us, and we neglect doing what we have to do in our real life. And we're more attentive to that than anything else. You're zoned out. You're high as a kite. You're no different than those people nodding out on heroin in the street, standing up but leaning over. Seems like they never fall. They're leaning all the way down to the ground. Almost. Doesn't the crystal meth do the same? Or this other one called, was it crank or something? I don't know. They always have different names in different regions of the country for drugs. But they got one that's so bad. There's a street in Philadelphia where everybody's leaning. Their face is like 6 inches off the ground. dirty, didn't wash, clothes musty, skinny from not eating because that's more of a drive for you than living balanced. Well, don't look down on them. You got your drug pipe in your hand, that smartphone. And does it really make you smart? Right? Like I said earlier, you can upchuck something that you saw that was brilliantly said, and you say it, and everybody thinks you're so brilliant and smart. And I hate to say it, I'm gonna say it this way, and I hate to insult anybody, but many of us are just as dumb or dumber because we don't understand what we're repeating. Everybody's a scholar. And just like Brother Malik Aziz says on the Muslim street, every Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern time, all of these YouTube revolutionaries, but nobody has a movement. Nobody's doing the work on the ground in the real world, but they have their mic, they have their ring light, they get on whatever program to stream, and they prop themselves up in whatever little costume they want to wear, and they are the one who is wise. A lot of here. Like I said, I'm just that regular dude you see on the bus stop or the doctor's office or in the supermarket checkout line. We're just talking. It's just that right now it's just one way. Be real, y'all. Be real. We don't even know who we are anymore. We have no connection to ourselves anymore. We're living through what comes at us. I see things. I break it down in my mind, but I don't allow it to get a free pass into my conscious and subconscious mind. If something is intriguing to me, I'll ponder it. I'll break it down. But I'm not going to sit here and absorb it like it's the ultimate truth. And it could be merely somebody's ego flex. Research it. Dissect it, break it down. For those who take care of their bodies and won't allow bad food in their system, are you going to allow bad stuff in your mind? You going to let this happen? I think not. You should not. But then again, there are people who guzzle junk food like it's good food. When they have health problems, they don't know why. Keep it a certain way. You don't want this junk to be in you as you try to ascend to a higher level. Because no matter how we leave out of here from this level, whether it's peaceably going to sleep and never waking up, or being in a bad car accident or a plane crash or whatever it may be, having a wonderful shower and slipping, break your neck. I'm not trying to be gory. I'm just saying that day you leave out of here, you don't even realize it. You planning on something for next month and you don't know this next afternoon you out of here. So try to appreciate the moments that you have and live in a way where you know that you're going higher. Because the energies that are around you, either it's going to bring you up or it's going to bring you down. The people around you, either they're going to bring you up or bring you down. You best believe you have some people out here who swear by you in your face and always have a smile, but they're waiting for your downfall. After a while, you will get the experience to know who and what it may be immediately. Solitude, meditation, and looking within will give you that. But if you don't allow yourself that, it's never going to happen. And the analogy I always use, when you're over the ocean in a small plane, a cargo plane that has so much cargo on it, and the pilot looks down at the fuel gauge, and the computer system lets it know, or lets him know, you don't have enough fuel to land, to make it to the land, to land your plane. what do? You keep on going like that? No. You have to decide what you're going to load shed, what cargo you're going to get rid of that you're carrying so your plane can be lighter and the fuel will stretch to make landfall. But so many of us are not going to make it to a better place when we transition because we don't want to get rid of old habits, bad people, bad thoughts, bad habits. We hold on to them. We might even see land coming closer. But that gauge and that computer system on the plane told you don't have enough. So if you're wise, you look in the back of that plane and don't take too much time and see what's more valuable to save and see what is no good that will keep you from making landfall and have you crash in the ocean. Is this stuff that's no good on your plane worth you crashing in the ocean? Some people in their stupidity and not being aware of what's going on hold on to it to the very end and never make it to the next level. So you begin to get rid of the bad people, the bad thoughts, the bad activities, the things that don't bring you higher, the things that weigh you down from reaching your ultimate destiny. I've been through a lot in my life, and I've learned to load shed certain energies that thought they had me deceived, but they were bringing me down, pulling me down. Having them around me would not allow me to make landfall on that next level. Have your thoughts all over the place where you can't connect with yourself and speak freely, effortlessly. I can talk like this for the next 5 or 6 hours. I don't want to talk that long because I'm going to go to sleep soon. But when your area is clear, when your subconscious and conscious mind is clear, where there's no distractions around you, when you test the spirit of everything that's around you, and you don't let people in easy. My time and energy is precious. I'm not going to spend it on just anybody. You better be worthy to get some of this. Just like the woman who knows how to keep her knees together because she knows she has much more value than just being a plaything and a glorified friction provider for some no good man that just wants to rub off on her. After all the sweet talking, he don't mean it. No. It works both ways. And off topic, brother, stop sharing your sperm freely. You don't just lay down and just give any woman a baby. Is she worthy of having your baby if you're a person of standing? Don't sell yourself cheap. Don't you think them brothers in the NFL, in the basketball leagues and playing baseball, they better know their sperm is valuable. Not just because of the monetary gains that these women out here who don't have good intentions just want to use them and get pregnant, but they know the long game. So if you don't have millions and you're not famous or you're not in a position to be in the affluent circles, you're still valuable because of your principles. Know that. And you can't lay down with everybody symbolically. And I always say it, I'm going to say it again. The number 100 went to bed with the number 50. And the number 100 woke up and said, oh my God, I'm only 75 now. Because you average out not just who you sleep with, but who you spend time with, who you discuss ideologies with that might be opposing to what you've already ascertained is to be truth in your life. And they're trying to convince you otherwise. You're not stubborn. You have a mind that is porous to a point, but it's not going to allow anything in. It can get close to you enough in the discussion, but once you already know it's going, taking a left-hand turn, you out. No interest. And that's how we have to be. The epidemic of stolen thought is an epidemic that you can't wear a mask physically over your face to stop from becoming infected. It feels good, that little flat piece of plastic and metal, that foam, and you see on the illustration in front of you, a pair of glasses, somebody dropped, social media tabs all over the place, the crowd and the reflection on the left-hand side, and matrix-like code on the right-hand side. But what are we being encoded with? Look at the crowd walking blindly through the phone, through social media, the epidemic of stolen thought. Let me know what you think. I truly enjoyed myself. Thank you for hearing me out. Lancescurv out. On to the next one. Much love and always peace.